Hey folks, my name is SenileSarge. Today we're going to be answering a question that most new players are going to ask. Anybody that's played an RPG or an ARPG is going to be like, hey, how do I make the best build? Well, the great part about Killsquad is you don't really need to worry about that from the start. It's not a complicated question, especially if you're new to the game. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today, and hopefully I can help you be better as you progress initially through the game. Let's get after it. All right, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button. Let us know that you like the content. That way I know if I need to continue to make builds and other things, especially for the new players. It's really why I'm making the videos anyways, because I couldn't find a lot of content to help me. So hopefully it helps you a little bit. We'll continue to talk to others and hopefully bring more content, especially for the other builds. I've been primarily focused on Cosmos, so that's where I've spent the majority of my time, but I know there's other characters that have spent time. The other thing is be a good human, hit the like button on the video. Let's get this thing to 10. We can do it. So you just started the game and you're wondering, hey, what's the best build for my character? You're trying to rank up, you're trying to move through the contracts, so that you can open up not only where you're at right now on the recruit side, but then of course the veteran, and then of course the spec ops to get all the way through it. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is everything that you see here is based off the vector. So when you look at each one of these, the top right corner for each one of these contracts, you can see that there's a vector number tied to it. So it's pretty easy to tell you that that's the important part of the puzzle, right? Is knowing what your vector score is as you look at your inventory. And that's all gear together. So that's going to be your weapons, and that's also going to be your support gear, and then of course your prototype gear. So as you're looking at it, that vector score is really what opens up everything for you. The most lucrative way for you starting off to increase that vector score is going to be through the shop. Okay, that's where the grind comes through, because you're going to have to play things over and over again. So if you look at mine right now, my inventory, my first weapon that I have is a Vector 83, and the second one is an 81. If I go to the shop, I have a weapon here that I could go with that is an 85. Now, do I look at some of the secondaries that I'm using prior to purchasing? I do. At the same time, I still want to get my vector level up. So there has been times where I've taken a weapon that has a vector level that I know is higher, but it doesn't really have good skills. And there's a reason for that, because I know that to get the vector level is going to help me progress through the game. You're not really going to be focusing on what build you have until you get right around 90 to 100. That's when it's really, you're going to start to focus in on the characters. And we're going to do build guides later for each one of the characters to help. Obviously the game's going to change. And as we've seen with this update, we have quests, we have different way that the skills and perks and all that stuff works. But at least for now, for almost all characters, I don't think this is going to change in the game. The vector level is the most important if you're starting off the game. And the other thing, you have 4 characters. So you don't have to just stay with Cosmo. You have the ability to go to each one of the characters, any one that you want, and start playing them. So if you don't like one, the way that it plays, move to the other. So when you go into the shop, well, for me, for inventory, when I look at each one of these, I've got 83, 81, 84, and 79. So my 79 right now, so when I look at my prototype gear, I actually have a little bit low. So if I was going to buy anything right now, most likely I'm probably going to push it up on the prototype gear, if it's something that I need. For me, I know with Cosmo, because as you play the game, you'll learn, Cosmo is definitely a character that does not have a lot of life. So you want to push up that armor and life for sure. And then of course, any of the crit hit, crit damage items. And that would be kind of where I'd focus all characters. And again, each one's a little bit different on what they can and can't do, but the crit hit, crit damage is very helpful as you're playing the game. So just kind of think of that. Now, credits are going to be important. So there's going to be a grind that's going to happen through the game as you're playing it. So inside of the contracts, especially for the new players, once you make it past these first 4, things will start to pick up. I know you're going to have to play them multiple times because you're going to have to get credits, and it's going to be important, again, to get that vector level up. So if you come in, you're not focused on vector, and you're just trying to progress through, they're not going to open up, because as you can see, you've got to have that vector level, right? And again, it doesn't open up just because I'm a Vector 81 right now. Does not mean that this opened up. It just means that I've played the one prior, and then it opens up, and that's telling me that it's recommending that I'm a Vector level 85. That doesn't mean I'm going to be successful in this map if I go inside of it. So that should be somewhat helpful for you to kind of understand that piece. For your weapons, when you're going through, again, look at vector, but for all the other stuff, your critical chance, your critical damage, those are always good to add in any game. So those are things that you can kind of focus in on so you can get there. Once you move through this first area over here to the left, which is kind of your recruit area, and you move into the veteran and the spec ops, that's for the very first time you're going to see the gear that is dropped that is probably going to be really good vector levels. So I know when I was on the recruit side, everything that I was picking up, I was actually buying way ahead of what was dropping. So I was like on 40 and the stuff that's dropping was like 20 vector. So it was way lower than where I was at. And that's why getting your vector level up initially is going to be important. Once you get into this area, as you can see now, I'm in 81, right? So what I had yesterday when I was actually playing is this weapon here actually dropped for me. So that was an 83 that dropped. I didn't actually have to purchase it. So I was playing with somebody else, which absolutely helped. And that's the other thing I would tell you. A really great way to help you move up in the game is to have 3 other people that are playing with you. And the higher levels they are is super helpful. So again, if you're coming into the game and you're new, what you're looking for is these poker chip looking things here. Blue means that they're in the lobby fixing to start, and green means that they've started. So if you have this open and you're like a 40, this is probably a pretty good one to jump in on. Take your chances. I'm sure the person that's in there is probably pretty good. You're not going to have a lot of higher players that are playing back here unless they need some of the materials that are based on those areas. So hopefully this will help people just a little bit. I spent way too much time at the beginning of the game and way too many credits, trying to get something that would make a build to just understand that I was going to lose it. A good example of that is going to my hero, looking at my inventory, and when you right click your weapon, I could update the secondaries. What I didn't understand is 1 or 2 rounds later, I'm getting a new weapon. And I've just now spent all of those resources on this weapon that I'm not even going to use. That doesn't mean you don't want to do it. There's going to be times where you'll want to do that. But for me, it's almost a waste to do that, especially if I know if I'm going to get rid of it. So here's an example of one that I did upgrade. So I do want the crit chance on this one. So I absolutely upgraded it. It was worth it because I know it's going to make the map a little bit easier. And I was running solo too, so that matters. Where this one really, for me, doesn't really matter that much because I know I still need to tier up. So anyway, sorry for rambling on a little bit. Hopefully this helps all the new players out there. Glad to see lots more people coming into the game. If you have questions, any concerns, please, by all means, post in the comments. Also, don't be shy to look on the Steam page. There's a lot of really great guides that the community has put together. They're phenomenal. Some of them have been very helpful. Some of them are outdated. And you'll see on them, they say outdated. Make sure you like the video here, subscribe, let us know that you want more content. And as always, thanks for everything. SenileSarge signing out.